This is The Dig on the Huskers Radio Network podcast. Powered by Emeritus. Featuring Nebraska Volleyball Director of Operations, Lindsay Peterson. Here's your host, Jessica Coody.
Welcome back, episode number 2 of The Dig of the 2025 season. And welcome back, Lindsay Peterson. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, excited to be back and excited for another year. I feel like the time in between gets shorter and shorter, and how are we already at season? But we're here, and I know we're excited, and probably everyone else is excited to see us play somebody besides Nebraska on the other side of the net. So looking forward to this weekend.
What year is this for you?
Number 20.
Wow.
Yeah,
big 20.
I aged myself big time, but yeah, number 20.
How does game week feel any different this time around?
It is different, actually. I mean, one, obviously, with a new head coach and finding out what Danny wants. I mean, we had a spring season, but a spring is way different than fall, and trying just to figure out what she likes, what helps her out the most. And so that's been a change. And then just each year, I mean, now we're these 0-week tournaments that we're in, and how that changes the landscape of planning. And, there's a lot more people wanting access to the players. So I just feel like every year it's a change somehow, which makes my job very exciting. And why I love it is because it's never the same and forces you to change and get better and grow each year. So it is different, but in some ways it is the same. And, you try to go back to your old routine and try to get into that routine now that we're in season, try to get back into that routine, the season routine of how the week looks and how you go about preparing. And some of those always remain the same.
Well, breaking news as we sat down to record this, that the captains have been announced. It's Bergen, Rebekah, and Andi. I don't think there's a number of players that if they were named a captain, I don't think I would have been surprised. I'm not surprised to see those three. We've heard so much about Rebekah and Bergen, and great trio. And you've had two in the past, couple of years, but have a great trio here to lead the team this year.
Yeah, it's a different look because the last 2 years we had the same two captains with Merritt and Lexi being around for 2 years, and the way they led the team kind of got in that groove, and now you had to find new leaders to emerge. And we really challenged our team in the spring and summer to let them see who naturally came across as their leaders and what the team felt they needed as leader, what this team dynamic was going to look like, what was going to be unique about this team, and what they needed from leaders of this team. And so we went through summer, we went through a couple weeks of preseason, and then with a team vote, those three emerged at the top. And it shows the work they've put in the time to make an impact on this team. And it also shows the team sees qualities in them that they think will help us achieve our goals. But you're right, we have a lot of players that they have experience, they're just natural leaders. Maybe they lead in different ways with their performance. Some are more nurturing and caring and handling things off the court. So I think we had a big group to choose from. And but the three that were chosen in Bergen, Rebekah, and Andi are a great combination. I think they balance each other well. They all bring different attributes to the court and off the court. And with a big team, this is a bigger team than we've had in several years, and a lot of new players. I think you need that. You have to have can't rely on just one person to try to do it all. And so these three have been presented with a great challenge, and the team believes in them, and the staff does as well. And so we're excited to see how their leadership unfolds here in the next 4 months.
Been told by both Kelly and Danny that Bergen's like the team mom. She's like the mom of the group.
Definitely a team mom. I mean, Bergen is you see it in her play. She's very calm demeanor, very collected, composed, and she's a perfectionist off the court, very organized. And so, she keeps things clean. She keeps everyone where they need to be. She makes sure that people know the schedule, the plan moving forward, and, kind of runs the family household for our volleyball team like a mom would. And that's a role she's kind of fallen into that the last couple of years. I think as a setter, having to lead the team on the court offensively, people naturally look to her. And so it was easy for her to just step into that role. But yeah, she's not one that's going to get too rattled, and she sees everyone, as their unique self and meets them where they're at that day.
Rebekah, we've talked a lot about her, obviously, and I had her on in the spring, and she talked a lot about how she had to change how she had her relationships with people because she realized people need different things out of relationships. How have you seen her evolve to become where she is now and being selected a team captain her senior year?
Yeah, Rebekah has grown a tremendous amount the last 4 years. I mean, she came in as a freshman, and she was so guns a-blazing, intense in everything she did. She just wanted to win. It really didn't take a lot. She didn't look at the outside intangibles that came into play when you're a part of a team like this. And I think she has a much better understanding. And like you mentioned, the relationship. She knows that, somebody that's just coming out of high school and is 17, 18 isn't going to need the same type of relationship care dynamic that someone that's 21 and is more set in their ways and is more independent and maybe understands their role on the team. And so she's always been someone that has never really judged. She doesn't place judgment. She gives people grace, and she's an individual in herself. Like, she wants to be unique in who she is, and I think she respects that for everybody. And that's when you have a big group like this, you can't expect everyone to be a cookie cutter, fit the same exact mold. And she's brought that to our team, and she wants people to be them in their individual selves and not just see themselves as volleyball players and let their personality come out.
What about Andi and her leadership style? What have you seen out of her that she was selected a captain?
Well, Andi wants to be very elite, and she wants this program to be very elite. And you see when Andi plays, like, she's an extremely focused, intense player on the court, and she's disciplined in many ways. And I think she carries that over into our team and making sure we're disciplined in the little areas. So, when we get backs against the wall on the court, it's not panic moment. We've worked on that because we're disciplined in all aspects of our life. And so I think she's someone that really tries to set a standard. She came to Nebraska because she liked what Nebraska was about. She wanted to be great on the volleyball court, but she also liked how you develop as a woman in our program, and she wanted to do that for her teammates as well and be the leader in that area. So she isn't afraid to have tough conversations. She knows what it takes. She, says the right things. There's not a lot of sugarcoating it, but she's earned the respect of her teammates with how she comes in and approaches every day in the court, on the court, in the weight room, in the classroom, whatever it is. She's earned that respect to have that voice, and they listen. So I think when Andi speaks, a lot of people automatically, okay, they hear what she says, and it means it's go time. Like, we mean business. And but she also is a very fun and supportive person too. So she handles and balances both those dynamics very well.
Sonny, you mentioned it, the trio, they're all different in their own ways, but all feed off of each other, I would imagine, with their strengths as far as leaders go.
Absolutely. And I think that's why, having 2-3 captains is definitely a benefit, is because not everybody's going to be strong in the areas the team needs them to be in, or it's not going to be what they feel most comfortable in a way of leading. And so they'll be able to balance each other well. And it also allows the team to, maybe they feel more comfortable going to Rebekah for some issues and Bergen for some, it doesn't make everyone have to funnel to one person. And I think that's what makes great teams is to have captains that balance each other. Some of our best teams and best captains we've had have been, trios of captains, just because they really allowed their strengths to shine, and they, can make up for the weaknesses or any shortcomings the others might have.
So we saw Rebekah at the red-white scrimmage when she was announced as the lifter of the year and how emotional she got. But I was curious, do you know the originating story behind how you guys started giving that award out?
Goodness, I don't know. I'd have to talk with Brian, but I think it was, I think with Brian and John, one year they talked about the importance of how important the summer is and winning the summer and the gains you make in the summer, especially with our beach program now too. The winter conditioning used to be, before beach, a great opportunity for our team to really make those gains in the weight room and physically, and make any changes they needed to make do it during that time. But now that you're in beach, it limits what can be done in the weight room during those months. So it really comes down to your 8 to 10 weeks in the summer. And so I think a lot of focus is on who comes in and is trying to make a difference. And I also think it's a motivator too. I mean, everyone knows sometimes it's not easy to get up and go do workouts every day. But this is a great way to show your team how invested you are in them and how much you want to, bring the best version of yourself forward.
She has put so much work into it. And I think that's what you saw in her emotion, right? Is just she felt like last year's, what she told me is that maybe didn't put as much emphasis in it. So she really wanted to make sure she left everything, no page left unturned. And so I got to imagine that was really rewarding for her, because not even, I want to win this award, but because some of the fruits of her labor paid off in that vote.
Yeah, I think it definitely, what she committed herself to was recognized by her peers and her teammates. And sometimes that's the greatest reward in itself, is when your teammates also see how much you put in and into it and they acknowledge that. But Rebekah has, she's had big goals her entire career, and she wants to max out. It's her senior year. She doesn't want to walk away with any regrets. And so she's really brought that mindset into every aspect, whether it's, developing relationships with her teammates, how she performs on the court, strength and conditioning, her recovery, and, anything she has to do in the training room. She's really committed herself in all those areas because she doesn't want to walk away with regrets and wants this year to be her best year. And I think that's a great example in itself. And to have a leader like that for the younger players to see, like, you only get 4 years. They go really fast. And so you don't want to walk away saying, I wish I would have. And so for her to show that example every day is great for our team to see.
Well, I got to ask you, as an alum yourself, how special was Saturday, the alumni night, and how it all went off? And they put together a pretty good squad, too. And just a sold-out crowd. It just was a really special night.
It was. It's fun to be able to do that. I know a lot of programs will have alumni matches, and just how it's worked for us in the past with a lot of our alumni playing professionally, and we didn't have a league in the U.S., and so a lot of our players that could have played were gone, already over to their foreign leagues in the past. And so now that we have these professional leagues in the United States, it keeps them home and allows us to tap into some of that talent that is still playing. And we knew it would be a great matchup because we saw, I think out of the 10 or 11 players, 7 or 8 of them are still playing professionally in some realm. So not many programs are probably having an alumni game at that level. But, we say how special Devaney is, and sometimes you don't understand that when you're in it every day, and the expectations of performing and winning are there. But when you leave it, you realize what you had. And I think it was great for our team to witness these players that have gone on and played in arenas all across the world and played at the professional level, and to come back and have all the joy and passion of playing back in front of the crowd at Devaney and in Devaney really speaks volumes to what a special, opportunity they have as a Husker. And so it was, if you talk to any of the players, they were nervous. I think the alumni, they were a little nervous. Some of them hadn't really touched a ball for several months. But I told them, you're professionals. It'll come back like that, just like tying your shoe. You'll figure it out. And but they really enjoyed it and said, let me know if you're doing this next year, and they want to be a part of it. And hopefully it allows alumni too. It gives us an opportunity to try to bring more alumni back, whether you're playing or not, because tickets are so hard to get. So we don't have many of those opportunities during the game during the year to really recognize our alumni and try to get them back and thank them for what they've done for our program and the tradition they've set for us. And Saturday night really brought that all together.
It's cool too, because some of the athletes that are now playing for Nebraska grew up Nebraska fans, going to camps, and then they get to play against former Huskers that they might not have that opportunity elsewise. And I know Harper's a big fan of Jordan Larson and had some fun blocking her and competing against Jordan. Yeah,
and some of our players said that. Like, I remember watching, Jordan play. I remember, watching Kelly set. They see Kelly and Jim, but they remember Kenzie playing libero, and they were inspired by her back then playing and excited, and now they got to play against him. And that's not really something you think you're going to have the opportunity to do, especially when you think, I'm playing against an Olympian. And So it's fun, and our players, got into it by that. And I think, like Harper, she's like, I could say I blocked an Olympian. I mean, a lot of people don't get to say they did that. So yeah.
Well, I did want to ask you about Harper too, because just her evolution and where she is now going into this season compared to where she was a year ago. I mean, I know a lot of Husker fans are so proud of how she's handled everything, but how she's put it out there and kind of wants to be an inspiration. And a lot of the young freshmen that came in and I talked to over the summer and really raved about her and how much she wanted to help them along. And it just that's kind of the reasons why you love sports, right? Or stories like Harper Murray's.
Right. I mean, Harper, we all saw her grow up fast last year, and I think the version that Harper is now, she is so grateful for some of maybe the low points she went through to get to this, and but also for the support and being here to go through it. And she has really turned into a player that obviously you can count on the court, but off the court, she's someone that, relationships matter to her. She's a people person, and she connects well with a lot of people. It's easy for you to talk to her. And so she was very welcoming to all of our new players right away. And I think they also have had an opportunity to see her platform that she has on social media, and they see that. And then they also see her now as a person and, a teammate and friend, and bringing those two aspects together. But I mean, Harper she's elite on the court, and she's learned to really embrace everything that Nebraska is about. And she's done it on a level that's really brought our program to light too, and has really helped bring volleyball as a whole to light across the nation, because she has a lot of followers. And I think the way she handles it all is really remarkable. And she's very mature and wise beyond her years. And I think that's a lesson for a lot of our players to learn, because as volleyball grows in popularity, some of them may be following her footsteps in the way she has handled that platform and that responsibility. And so to have her right there by their side is very helpful.
I think a lot of Husker fans that follow the program know that what your duties are and responsibilities, and you're a big catalyst behind the scenes for the stadium match. But what they might not understand or realize is going into playing at Pinnacle Bank Arena, that's not Nebraska's event, right? So you really haven't had a whole lot to do with planning this event.
Yeah, so this weekend's event is put on by the AVCA. So even though it's here in Lincoln and at PBA, it's not a Nebraska event. So we are almost like a guest in our own venue. We have helped with some of the planning, obviously, and how the game logistics and behind the scenes stuff to make everything go. But they have really provided the roadmap and the template of what they want this event to be and how they're marketing it, and to really make it a premier opening season event. I mean, most likely you won't in any more the rest of the season have teams at this level playing on the same weekend together in the same venue until you get to the NCAA championships. So it is a special event, and we're going about it like we've never played over there. This will be the first time we practice over there on Thursday. It will be the first time we've practiced in PBA, so it's not something familiar to us. So we don't have any home court advantage in that way. We're definitely going to rely on our fans to provide the home court advantage, but we're excited. I think the AVCA has done a tremendous job of really making this a first-class event and trying to do everything in their power to continue to raise the volleyball in media as far as TV sponsorships, and just bring it to light to more people. And from what I've seen, and we'll do a couple more walkthroughs before Friday, is they have a very, very well-planned event.
You were a part of those conversations when they said, hey, we want to bring this here. Can you take us back to those and why they wanted to bring it to Lincoln? And at the time, why Coach Cook was all for it?
Well, he, they was at Louisville last year, and part of that was because the Final Four was there. And so they wanted to start the year and end the year, I think, at the same place was their plan. But when they had talked about that tournament and us being a part of it in Louisville, they already had brought up, we would love to do it in Lincoln. And what do you think for the next year? So those talks had started already a year ago. But, as after the Louisville event and we met, and John was a big part of bringing it here as well, we just knew that no football conflicts. It was an opportunity to hold it in PBA. It was here in Lincoln. It would be great for our fans and the type of teams you're bringing in. Why not? We know that our fans will fill the arena and they'll create the game atmosphere that we need. And AVCA is well aware of that too. I mean, they know our following and their fan base, and they need that to make it a successful event. So the idea of playing at PBA, we don't have a lot of opportunities because of either home football or concerts, or then we run into basketball. So PBA just hasn't been a place that we've really considered playing, and it just has to fall in the right time. And this year it did, with it being 0 week for us, and really it's kind of the start of all fall sports. And I think a lot of people are chomping at the bit to get the sports going, and they're tired of just hearing about the practices.
So what are the big adjustments then, being that, people might not be aware of that either, that, hey, you're not getting to go in there early and practice in there, but a bigger arena, I guess, than Devaney. A lot of your players have had that experience. You have quite a few that have not. So the court, all of that, what are those kinds of adjustments look like for this team? It'll
be settling in. When we practice there Thursday, it's settling in and understanding depth perception of where the court is for our passers from the service line, the air movement, how it's going to affect the serve. They're going to have a lot of video boards to make it more of the atmosphere to be more entertaining than what a lot of college venues are able to do. They're really making it a production. So you're going to see more of the signs and the video boards and the things that the fans are doing, and they're going to have a DJ going during the game, and just all those little aspects that really change the event. And so it'll be a change for our players. I mean, we will be getting ready at Devaney and headed over there, busing over there. It's not like a normal home game where they just drive over and show up. So we're approaching it almost like a road match of we're leaving Devaney is the same time we would leave a hotel to go to a match on the road, and try to develop that routine. So it helps us prepare for a little bit of a road match routine. But we also have the comforts of our fans and being right here, sleeping in our own beds and all that. So, but like you said, we've never played in Devaney or PBA. So we haven't had an opportunity to see what a volleyball court looks like in there. I know they've held state championship or state volleyball in there, but they have 2 courts going on. So this will be a completely different look for our players. And anytime they've been in there, it's been for a basketball game. So to have courtside people around everywhere and all the boards, and it's going to be a completely new, but it'll be new for all teams. But a good experience to have if you want to make a run and maybe play at the stages that this program strives to play at the end of the season. Absolutely. It's something you see that the NCAA tries to do for the championships each year, is to make it a bigger stage than any other event throughout the year. And I think this is a great warm-up for that. Okay, so I did want to ask you, because next week we're going to have a new guest on the podcast, Brennan Hagar, who has been a part of the program, and so we're going to introduce him to Husker fans here on the Dig next week, right? He's on the schedule next. He's on the schedule. Tell us about him, his story, and before we get to chat with him, what made him ready for this kind of role? Yeah, well, Brennan has really paved his own way. He grew up in Wyoming, ended up going to Kansas to play volleyball, collegiate volleyball there. And he knew about Nebraska and reached out on his own, trying to find out if there were opportunities to, be a manager, assistant, whatever it may be. So he came here as a grad assistant, grad manager, got his master's, was in our gym for 3 years as he worked on his master's. And during that time, just really impressed our staff of how he handles himself, his knowledge of the game, his understanding of the level we want to be at, and breaking down the technical side of, he was a middle blocker and understanding the technical side of that. And so, it wasn't somebody you would think, would have a ton of experience coaching, but we've seen how he has done in our gym, how he's helped with the scouting reports, breaking down teams, his role in that as a manager the last couple of years, and then also just his presence in our gym. And so I think that really spoke volumes, and he impressed Danny as well. And this spring he worked with our middle blockers, and making that transition from being a grad manager to coach is a big leap. I mean, going from being in it with the players to now you're coaching them and on the professional side is a big change. And he's really mature and wise as far as how to handle that transition. And so I think it's made it very easy. And we're excited. We're happy to have him on staff. We're glad he's still a Husker. And he's somebody though that it's a definitely unique story, because you don't hear a lot about, players from Wyoming coming out. Wyoming doesn't have high school volleyball for men. He just really paved his own way and knew what he wanted and worked towards it in every aspect of his life.
Wow, can't wait to chat with him. Hey, I asked this to Dani, but she said, I know nothing about horses. You actually do. So I was asking her some fun questions on our coaches show and said, which player would make the best roping partner for Coach Cook? Would you know?
Let me think.
She's like, I know nothing about the horses. You have to ask Coach Cook. So I didn't know if maybe you might have a good idea.
I would say, I think maybe Olivia, or maybe even Bergen. I just feel like they're very balanced and smooth. And when you're roping, you have to be balanced on heart. Like, you have to be balanced and centered. And when you're throwing a rope, it has to be quick, and you can't think. I mean, you have to be calm and collective doing that. And I just think that those two would be, their height is right. They, as far as throwing a rope over a horse's head, and their balance and their demeanor would fit for a good roper.
Fascinating. I love that answer too. Yeah. You didn't just pick, you gave us why too. I love that. I love that. Coach Cook's got a couple. Lauren was joking. He just, picked up 2 new jobs. No big deal.
I joked with that. I joked with too. I was like, we knew if you retired, you were actually going to just sit. Like, that was not an option. And so, but I think it'll be fun for fans to hear him. He calls one of the games this weekend on BTN up in Sioux Falls. And so to see him on that side of things, and behind the TV or behind the scenes, watching the games and not having to make the decisions of who to play or what to say at timeouts, and then also with the Supernovas, I think that he's really impacted volleyball, and he's somebody that has always pushed it forward and wants to see it continue, the bar to continue to raise. And so this position with Supernovas, I think, is really another opportunity for him to impact the future of volleyball and continuing to grow the sport and to give females, players, opportunities to stay in the States and to do it well. I mean, he's one that thinks outside the box, and he, always wants to. He doesn't take no for an answer easily. So having that type of personality and as a general manager and in a professional league, I think will only help that it continue to be on the upward trajectory.
No doubt about it. Okay, last thing, like we always do, just kind of previewing the weekend a little bit, opening up with a bang like Nebraska seems to always do, a couple of big-time opponents. But just with the venue, playing at PBA for the first time, all the things kind of wrapped up. You got a lot of different players that I know, trying to figure out what lineups work best. What are going to be the keys for this weekend? What's the staff looking to see out of this group here in this opening weekend?
Well, yeah, we're opening with a very, very good team in Pitt, and we're somewhat familiar with their style of play, obviously. I mean, we know they're returning the National Player of the Year. We're familiar with some of the other players on their team, but, these days with the transfer portal as it is now, and, how teams are bringing in the new players coming in, you're never sure. This first weekend is always kind of a crapshoot because you don't have video to watch and prep on. You have to make changes on the fly. So I think that'll be a big key for our team, is how quickly we're able to make in-game adjustments and change, and because we aren't able to prep and really scout and break down these teams prior to playing them. We'll have a little better opportunity with Stanford, but still it's a one-day turnaround, and they're a completely new team as well. So we may know some of the pieces, but how they work and the style of play that the other teams are going to be coming at us with, won't know. So we really need to focus on our side of the net and be great in the things that we can control. And I think early on, it always, serving and passing is such a key, but especially early on, because teams are still trying to figure out their systems, trying to figure out who plays well next to each other. And if you can serve and pass, you put yourself in a great position to win. And then, as well as being able to make those adjustments and being able to make them quickly are going to be keys for us this weekend.
Great stuff as always. Great to have you back, and appreciate your time and breaking it all down for us. And hey, we'll look forward to regular appearances from you now.
All right, sounds good. It's great to be back.
Lindsay Peterson here with us on The Dig. Emeritus is proud to power The Dig and all of Husker women's sports. Thanks for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe and like wherever you listen. Never miss an episode right here on the Huskers Radio Network podcast.